Riley and Leonore. Welcome to our YouTube page. Also follow us on Instagram and TikTok. All that information will be in the description box. But today I wanted to get up and closer with Riley, and Riley's gonna get up and closer, up and personal. Did I say it right the first time?
Even though I'm shy and everything, you know.
Did I say up and close enough? I feel like I said that.
It was close enough.
Close enough. Up and close enough. Yes, up and personal with Riley and I.
She has to deal with every day.
So much on my mind. Anyway, so just so that you could get to know a little bit about us and how we feel about love, sex, relationships, get our opinions. What? You sit like this with my sex.
I know he's gonna do all that.
Sex is part of a relationship. Let's start with the first question, Riley. How important is sex to you in a relationship? If you had to rate it from 1 to 10, would it be a 10 or above?
You answering your own question. To me.
Mm-hmm. To you.
You know what's crazy? I can't. It may sound kind of lame to say this, but the older and the more I learn, that number's starting to come down more.
What?
Yeah.
But you're a Leo and an Aries.
But you know what it is? Because that's what I do best. Sex is what I do best. So when you've done something for so long, so well, you look for other things to inspire you.
Wait a minute, Riley.
What?
Okay, but don't you need to have the reciprocation back, or you don't care about that anymore?
What I'm saying is that sex is on a 1 to 10. It used to be like a 30. Now it's like a 7, 6, and
a 7. What?
6 or 7. Because it's not that important to me anymore. Because I've been around to know great sex is not necessarily a long-term keeper. It's a great feeling as human beings connecting, but I mean.
So wait a minute, Riley.
I'm not trying to say I'm gonna give you sex.
No, I know you're
6.
not going to give a 6 or a 7, but you're okay with receiving a 6 or a 7. All right, that's all right. I understand. I mean, you said you're getting old. It's not that important to you anymore.
No. Hold on. I didn't say I was getting old in the sense of, all right, hold on. What I mean is, you added that. Oh, as I mature in my mind on a different, as I'm beginning to move from this physical plane of how I think, I'm more concerned with her ability to stimulate me intellectually on what she can do for me as far as to, make me greater in other aspects. It's because I've been pleased sexually all my life. Well, consent-wise, teenagehood. But so that doesn't move me as much as it used to move.
So what moves you now? If it's not, like, what would be a 10 for you in a relationship?
Her mind. Mm-hmm. And she has to see my vision and help me carry it out.
I also help you execute your vision.
Yeah, she has to love me more than she loves my vision. Love me.
Wait a minute, but that's two different things.
Pardon me, I said it wrong. Love my vision more than she loves me. So when I'm no longer functional or no longer could move in a certain capacity, or even we take a break from each other, or we mad at each other, the vision supersedes the emotional state that she may be in.
Okay.
Help me carry, like I told you in another video, help me carry out my vision. Mm-hmm. Don't be so concerned with, I love him. Mm-hmm. Nah, if you love my vision, because my vision will take us to places that the emotional part may not take us.
Yeah. I hear you.
You hear me? Mm-hmm. You sure? Because before you said some other stuff, because you're old.
Riley, 6 or 7?
I've been there. It used to be. You know what it's like. All right, if you born a millionaire.
But then if you take a 6 or a 7, Riley, that 6 and 7 is gonna turn into a 3 or 4 later on. Don't know. That's my opinion. If it's not, I'm saying the numbers are gonna go lower.
I'm saying is that the numbers can go up, the numbers might go down, but my desire for her, as far as what she can do for me intellectually, supersede what she can do for me physically. Because when sex was a 10 or 30 for me, where the women at now? Where are they at?
Where you at?
Where you at? So that just goes to show you that if you're thinking of a long-term perspective, you can't look at a woman but how important it is for her to please me as a 10. Now, if she has the ability to please me as a 10 sexually, and she's smart, that's cool. But if she's
just cool,
I'm saying cool meaning I like that. But if she don't have no brains and she just got good ass.
So Riley, can I say about the women that's always after you, Riley? Riley be getting the most finest women. I'm not gonna lie. Even
man.
I am like, what? Riley, you turned that down? You're turning that down for tonight? What's on the platter? What are you doing? And so I understand what Riley's saying. He's matured. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that. I don't know why I put the rabbit ears. But yes, I understand what you're saying. You want someone that has the same goal, same vision, and they have to fall in love with that vision more than they love you. That's deep. That's real deep. But I get that.
Do you? You answer a question and it a lie.
Riley, but can you like when you see a girl, can you automatically tell if they have brains?
Yes.
You could. So
yes.
Is that why you turn some girls down sometimes?
Well, because what do you have to offer me besides your body?
Mm-hmm.
See, the ends justify the means. If I chase after you because you have a nice body, then that means that you're going to advertise your nice body, which means that you are somewhat for sale in that realm of physicality. Mm-hmm. And if you are for sale, then that means you're only going to be loyal to the highest bidder. I don't personally.
What's the highest bidder?
Anybody that offers her time for her body. Any man.
Is that what they're after? Like when they show off their bodies,
they're advertising, they're marketing themselves.
Some of you ladies have amazing bodies. I'm not gonna lie.
I've seen 100 of them. My inbox. I'm not talking about my inbox. That shit look like an invoice. But anyway.
I'd be like, what's going on?
Nah,
but I understand what you're saying. But you could tell that they don't have brains because you want long term.
Can you send me a book? Can you talk about something that stimulates my mind? Can you have a conversation that deals with something that you and I can discuss that makes our lives better 2-3 years from now? Because I'm gonna tell you right now.
And that's okay with you in the first 3 months of a relationship?
I'm gonna tell you right now. The one thing I know about gravity, it all goes south. All right. So them nice voluptuous titties that you got, that's beautiful. I love it, man. Love it. I done seen 34A. I done seen 40 double D titties. What I want to see is this.
Yeah. No, I hear you.
Because this is the gateway to this.
Not the stomach.
The heart. Stomach.
Yeah, I thought food was the way to get into a man's heart.
I'm not a Taurus. No.
Yes, you are. You're a Venus and Taurus.
That I am, but still.
I got you.
What about that? So Remember, Aries is the head. Aries represents the head. You know, you have to be able to move me in a capacity besides offering your body. But that comes from men who don't operate off a high level of intelligence, comfortable with a woman just showing off her body. And then you wonder why, and later on down the line, you're having problems. Because now after you got her body, your interest of her is no longer as it was before. Because you got what you wanted. But that's what she sold you. So you're both use each other. She advertised her body so she can lure you in for help, for money, for assistance. You bought into it, you got what you wanted, and now you don't want to still pay for the same price because now it's a used car. It depreciated in your mind. So now what happens now?
So mind for you has to go up. Like, not this, you don't mind if the numbers for the sex goes down.
I mean,
but mind for you has to be consistent or higher.
my mental first. I can't help it.
Yeah.
I wish I could. My IQ is like 137, 38. I don't know how to go down to accept you. That doesn't move me. I just can't. When I was younger, hell yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I dated some beautiful women in my life. I mean, I cannot lie. Beautiful women. Beautiful women. I'm not even lying. I'm not trying to brag. I'm really not. But when I was trying to see what they had to offer besides their physical purgatory, then it was like, damn, you know? But I feel sorry for them though.
Me too.
Because you know why I feel sorry for them? Because a lot of them are not dumb. You know what I'm saying? They're very intelligent. But because the world has promoted physical over mental, because the powers that be want you to be beautiful, they don't want you to be smart.
Correct.
So now you're only avatar what you think the world's going to worship, but you're smarter than that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Don't ever
Or you could be smarter.
But no, you are smarter than that. You just haven't accessed it.
Yeah.
It's already internal. So stop showing me your ass in the inboxes, Mom. I don't want to see that shit no more.
Seriously?
Show me a book. Show me some metaphysics. Show me some astrology. Show me some numerology. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Show me something. Show me pie. You know, not the cake, man. I don't want a cake in my box. Pie mean the infinity pie. That pie. 3.16 pie? That one?
You're triggering me. This is math work.
Okay. Show me some pie examples. Show me something, the elements. You know.
Yeah.
Now that doesn't mean that I'm anti beautiful body or beautiful woman. No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that you're greater.
Yeah.
33 in the third. Mind, body, and spirit. Show me all three. Not just your 38 Ds. Go ahead. What's the next question?
Next question. I wanted to know what kind of partner you are inside of a relationship. Are you the type of partner that will disagree with your partner because you like to not listen, you like to argue, or you're the type of person that will listen despite, whatever their disagreement or arguments are with you, and validate them?
Well, a man should never argue with a woman.
What would you replace that argument with
Conversing.
Conversing.
And leading as a man. When a man argues with a woman, what he's essentially done is he's operating off his emotional state. And when you're playing into, that's her world, that's not your world. And eventually, if you keep arguing with her, she will not respect you.
Are you saying that's her world because
Women operate more of emotion than men do. So when a man argues with a woman, he's trying to compensate for what he may have lacked objectively or intellectually, and he's operating off an emotional aspect. remember, women like to subconsciously like to be led.
Now, can I ask you one question about that?
But
I
hold on,
agree
wait.
with you.
Well, I don't want to.
No, go right ahead.
Women like to be led subconsciously by men who are men, not men who think who are not, men who are acting like men or in their alpha mindset, not a man who's arguing and trying to go through a phone and
What I wanted to say, does that also does there a level of education play a big role in it? When like if you find a man, because let's face it, there are men that do that, right?
Right.
That argue, and I do love your
perspective.
yeah, on how that's a woman's thing because they operate more emotionally, and that's how they could get their argument or their point out. If it goes that far, sometimes people just can't control their feelings. But besides the point, there are men or women, doesn't matter, that will operate off of their emotions, and that's okay. We ain't trying to say you can't, whether you're a man or a woman. But the point is that does education level play a role in it?
I think it's something that, yes, it needs to be taught the importance of manhood and what it means to be a man and to be able to teach and lead as a man. And it's your duty and responsibility as a man to operate with objectivity and not emotion. Your job is to protect, your job is to provide, and your job is to get her to see the vision that you have in yourself, and her, as your helpmeet, help you carry out that vision. To cherish you more than respects you. As a wise man once said, respect means I'll die with you. Cherish means I'll die for you. So you have to be you have to be able to have a woman that willing to do that for you, and that comes from being a masculine man and a masculine frame, and that you can't be arguing, you can't be cursing around, you can't be putting your hands on her. No, that's weak shit. You don't have to. Your presence, your essence, when you come into a room is going to permeate what kind of person you are. So when you start doing a lot of extra emotional stuff and operating off your masculine frame, what you're going to do is say, okay, I'm going to put him in the category as a simp or a soft or a mangina or whatever the fuck y'all call it. And I know this is kind of hard for a lot of men to understand, or even women to feel like, oh, I want to listen. I ain't gonna listen to no man. I ain't listen to no man. You see, that's another issue. I don't think you should.
Well,
be submissive.
that's honesty and communication is a huge part when it comes to. Besides the fact that whether you're going to validate your partner because they're right or they're wrong or how they feel, honesty and communication is a huge biggie.
Yeah, and you have to know how to communicate effectively. How do you talk to your woman? How do you talk? Do you talk at her? Do you talk to her? Because honestly, and I've always been saying this, when a woman loves you, she'll do so much shit for you. It's unbelievable. And she don't even know that she's doing it. But you also, as a man, you have to give her something to do. What do you, like I said, I'm going to go back and say it again, third time, vision. What ideas do you have, or concepts do you have, layouts do you have, plans do you have for her to say, you know what, got it. What kind of kingdom do you have for her to be a queen in it?
What advice do you have for women that have to deal with their men, or vice versa, whether it's whether it's a masculine dealing with a feminine or a feminine dealing with a masculine, who are so out of control when it comes to not validating someone else's point of view or emotions. And you're saying, you know, mostly men should not do that. So my question is, what advice would you give a woman that's inside a relationship that has to deal with a man who is always talking at her, like you said, instead of to her?
Well, what tends to happen in those cases, if she has to constantly remind a man to be one, then they're on borrowed time anyway. So, a lot of time what happens is she will initially start blaming herself for how she's being treated, because depending on her her not responsibilities, but her upbringing. Did she have a father? Did she know what it's like to have a father? Was her father a strong man?
What was the relationship between them?
Right. Was she sexually abused by a man growing up? You know, these are all type of precipitating factors that could determine her perception of men. Does she blame herself for what the man says about her? You know, because the reason why a lot of women fall victim to that is because when a woman is young and in love, that's when she's at her highest emotional state. But after her second or third heartbreak, it's hard to repair that. So the answer to your question is,
they're living on borrowed time.
Living on borrowed time, because she got to teach you to be a man. Then you're not one. It's not her nature to teach you to be a man, and when you are a grown man already. If she could teach a boy to be a mature male, even that has a limit to it. But there's certain things that a woman cannot take a man to his highest level of masculinity. There's a limit there.
Yeah.
And this is science. This is not just personal theory or prejudice or lack of information. If you look at the neurology of a woman's brain and a man's brain, even in sex is different. Even in sex, women feel closer to a man in certain aspects than a man may feel closer to her. The chi and energy exchange in man and woman is different. Like women reflect the light. Women reflect light. When you give them the proper light, they will reflect it. If you give them bad light, they will reflect it. Look at every society. Look at the woman. Look at the man in that society. Different countries. Travel, you'll see. Where there's no good women, where there's no good men, there's no good women. That's a guarantee. Look at the women in every country and you can tell how they're being treated. Are they protected or not? Are they loved or not? Are the men not in their masculine frame? You have other countries where women do all the work. I mean, women work, clean, cook, and pay bills. Other countries, they don't do that. It all depends. Now, I'm not subscribing to some man, sitting up here doing everything for women and she don't do nothing. I'm definitely not going to subscribe to that, because then you're a sucker. If you're doing everything, she's doing nothing, that's not you being masculine. That's you happy to have her because you don't think you can have anybody else. So what you're doing is your fear of losing her, you're compensating. Never be afraid to lose anybody. Never be afraid to lose anybody. Because then you'll train your brain to have nobody.
And not only that, you're depending on another flesh. Like, you should not depend on another flesh. You depend on yourself.
Well, you should not depend on another person solely for your existence, in the sense of if you don't have to, but on a human plane, men and women belong together, and there's roles that have to be established on both ends. And some women might say, well, damn, why he's saying all this like this? But I'm going to give you an example. What do women say when they get mad at a man? You're acting like a bitch.
I just don't talk.
Right. Well, but in your mind, you're like, why he acting like this?
Right.
So if you're upset at a man operating on a female frequency, then that means that there's incompatibility in why you're detaching yourself from him. Because you're not acting in accordance to that. You never hear a man say, we act like a woman. You never hear that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Is it sexist? No, it's not sexist because everybody has a role to play.
Everybody has a role to play.
Everybody has a role to play. It's a job.
That's well said.
There's a role to play. Play your role.
Play your role. But that has to be communicated, you know? I feel, and correct me if I'm wrong, like when you first meet someone, or it doesn't, even if you're in a relationship with them now, these things have to be communicated. You know, what role are you going to play, my love? What role are you going to play, sweetheart? But, you know, of course, you know, basically, are you going to be the person that's going to stay home and take care of the kids? Or are you going to be the person that's going to work, pay the bills? Like, you know, assigning roles. I feel like that should be said out loud in a relationship.
See, what you're talking about is communicating on who's going to do what.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, as a man, you should be comfortable telling her what's going to be what.
Oh. And she has to agree with him.
She doesn't have to agree because it's not her. She doesn't have to agree. But if your plan is righteous and sincere, and what you have going on is profitable and long term,
Right.
and she doesn't adhere to that plan, then you have to find somebody who is.
Correct.
You cannot.
And vice versa.
Vice versa, you have to be able to listen to a woman. Listen, if you find a woman and you invest in that woman, she's gonna remember the moon reflects 10% of the light, but absorbs 90% of it. So your woman is a reflection of you. So how can you not listen to somebody who's reflecting your light?
Yeah.
Listen to your woman. If she loves you, she's gonna give you the best advice ever. But you have to be comfortable. See, if you are afraid to let her have her shine, her yin and your yang, that balance. If you don't want to give her that, it's because you are intimidated by her ability to do well because you feel she'll do better than you, and that's not a masculine frame.
No.
A confident man is not competing with his woman. He's teaching her, and she reflects that teaching, and then she adds her flavor, and he learns from her. That's balance. But to sit here and compete with her or argue with her or try to demean
But
her
to have two
talents.
different agendas, that doesn't work in a relationship, right? When they have two different agendas. Have you ever seen those type of relationships?
Well, the end justify the means.
The end justifies the meaning.
You know how you end up is how you start up is how you end up.
Yes.
That's go back to the physical and the inbox shit. Show me your titties and ass. I know where it's gonna end up. It's gonna end up in sex. That's it. How you start is how you finish. So before you even lay that woman down physically, what are you doing? Before you have sex with her, did you tell her that you like to read? Get you some books? Study? Nah, you want some ass, right? Yeah, you want some ass, right? Yeah. But
What do you say, like, when they approach you in that way? Like, do you turn them down? I mean, I know you turn them down, but are you open about, do you feel comfortable being open and telling them, like, you know,
No
you
man-
do better with yourself?
no man should be afraid to tell a woman anything that in his heart he knows can better him, and vice versa.
Especially if you want that person,
Right.
correct?
If you're afraid to be honest with somebody because you're afraid to lose them, listen, I'm gonna tell you something. And this is real shit right here. Being afraid to be rejected, what that does is you're training your spirit to not be attracted to people who may have good intentions for you when the person that you're chasing don't want you. So after you chase rejection, because you ego chasing now. Oh, I gotta get her. So now when you meet somebody who wants you, you've been chasing rejection for so long, you don't even know how to connect with somebody who wants you intrinsically and genuinely. So stop chasing who don't want you. Because what you're doing is you're building up a certain tolerance for acceptance of people who do. Make sense?
Yeah.
So
Be a role model.
yeah, don't be afraid to tell somebody. Let me tell you something. The power of any man. If you can tell a woman you don't want her physically or sexually, and you require more of her, you're going to bring out two things in her. From my experiences, you're going to bring out her to aspire to be greater than her just her physical body, or she's gonna be like, "Fuck you, nigga! I ain't gotta deal with this shit. I'll find another simp." You know what I'm saying? Not another. I'll find a simp or somebody who will fund or purchase without selling here. You know what I'm saying? Because now what's happening is she's like, nah. But a real woman will be like, you know what? I never had a man talk to me like that before, who's challenged me to think to my goddess level. Because I'm a god, I don't want a goddess. You know what I'm saying? So
it starts with the mentality and the security of a woman.
the confidence of a man to bring out the security in a woman outside her physical and sexual abilities.
Correct.
Okay? Because every woman has a brain, right?
Yeah.
All right. So you're not just limited to your vagina. So a man must know how to bring out more than her vagina and bring out her mind. But you so thirsty for sex.
But there's some men that don't want their brains. You know, there's some men out there that don't want that.
And they will be men that will be used. Well, you got three types of men. Men that don't want to be bothered with women as a whole because they feel like it's too much work. Men that have no problem taking the helm and leading. And men who don't like women because they like men. You know. But, you know, or no, four. And men, there's a fourth one. And men who let women run them. Because they didn't have no father in the house. The mom was the boss. So the woman runs them, and they comfortable with that. You know, but you notice in every household where the women run the relationship, it's a guarantee that she more likely will cheat, because eventually women inherently look for strength. If she can't find strength in you, she'll find another man to give her strength. Because you just a bill payer.
What you mean by that?
D. Energy of the D.
What? No, I don't want to do that anymore to people.
Yeah, the D.
Is that what that means?
So you know, if you or she's always yelling at him. You her boy. You her son. She's doing all the work in a relationship. Now, sometimes a woman has been traumatized so bad that she prefers to be the head because she can control and dictate the narrative because of her past experiences. So what she's basically saying is, I'm not going to have no man control me anymore and abuse me. So I'm going to make sure I control everything. But see, it sounds good theoretically from a safety perspective, but the origin of that behavior is fear-based.
Yeah. That's deadly.
Yes.
In a relationship.
I'm afraid. But see, that's the power of a man. It's for her to be so afraid that what's going to happen next, that she makes herself almost dominant out of fear. But in the back of her mind, it don't feel right. She may have the helm, but in her soul, it don't feel right. I thought she'd be yelling at him and cursing at him and beating his ass and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm just be laughing at that, but I'm sorry. Beating his ass, whatever. Because she's not balanced. She's doing man shit.
Truth.
Did I
Thank you,
answer
Riley.
did I answer your question?
It did.
Any more questions?
No, that's it. Unless you have any questions for me.
I got a question for you.
This is up in personal, up close and personal.
When you meet a partner, how do you connect with them?
When I meet a partner, how do I connect? I connect through the mind. So I'm the type of person that I don't want to seem like I'm going to overrun you. I try to be the type of person that's like, very background, and I don't want to be overpowering. That's the word.
Mm-hmm.
So when I try to connect with someone, I don't overpower them in any shape, form, or other. So I
Mm.
love going with the flow. So if your flow is like this, and I'm gonna go with that flow. But I've been caught in situations where I want to dictate what's gonna happen next, out of control. You know me, I'm a Scorpio, so out of control. You know, or keeping the control
Mm-hmm.
on my side of the port. I'm going to dictate what's going to happen next.
Okay.
That doesn't work out.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Well, you mentioned you being a Scorpio, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you mentioned, and every sign has negative and positive frequencies
Yeah.
due to certain experiences. Do you feel that your desire to control may be more apparent because of previous instances with men that didn't work the way they were supposed to work? So you felt the need to have some level
Yes.
of control?
So out of fear, yes.
Okay, so the Scorpio is fueled by the situation. The vibration is fueled. My question, fear. So my question is, have you been healed?
Yeah. Well, I mean, for not just me, just you said it earlier too. Maturity. People mature.
Right.
And you go into relationships, you know, and you're not the same, you know, person that you were in a relationship when you were 20. You're not the same person that you were in a relationship when you were 30, 40. It doesn't, like, people mature, and you know this about yourself, and this is how you really get to know who you are, the good, bad, and the ugly, by being with someone else and not repeating the same mistakes.
Correct.
And so one of my lessons was not just to go with the flow, which I always do anyway. But especially in the beginning, I try not to dictate. I let go of control, and that's hard for someone like me. And I say that because I do have a lot of Scorpio in my chart. But even more so, there are people, you know, masculine and feminine energy, that don't want to let go of that control because of whatever, like you said, upbringing or past relationships they had. When I let go of control, things flow so much nicely. I let go of the outcome. Outcome, for some reason, people hold on to that outcome, that end, especially when they meet, because, you know, you're asking me how do I connect with someone in the beginning. And so when I let go of that outcome, it just works for me better. And that's a part of, that's still controlling, actually.
Are you afraid?
Of
Is somewhere in the origin of that control fear? Is fear guiding it? Because if fear is origin of that control, then that
not any longer.
Not any longer. So you no longer, but you just said in the beginning, as a Scorpio, I have to control. So is it, what do you mean by
myself, my feelings?
Self-mastery.
Correct.
Got it.
Not to the other person. The other person could be the other person.
So how do you balance out a relationship with that type of self-mastery? Because now when you're in a relationship, you have to give up a certain level of control.
And I'm okay with that.
By your definition.
Yeah. The control for me was outcome. So I don't know what it is for other people, but I have to let go of an outcome. Whether it's that day, that week, that month, that year inside of the relationship, let go of that outcome. For me, the fear was the outcome. What's going to be the outcome? Is that person going to cheat on me tomorrow? Is that person going to lie to me next week? Does that person, you know, but those are things that I went through in relationships, that I've seen in relationships. Is that person going to abuse me, you know, if I come out my mouth or whatever? So when I let go of those outcomes, does that make sense? It's a form of me controlling what my feelings are, and it's a way of letting go of that control at the same time.
It sounds like me what you're saying is you are understanding the only thing that you can control is yourself.
Yeah.
And your practice of self-love and spiritual meditation and healing internally, you're not so much concerned with somebody else doing. You're into who you are and how to master yourself. So regardless of what they do, you still do you.
Yeah.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Got it.
Also to me,
Right.
you know,
Mm-hmm.
with respect, with
Yeah.
there still has to be a mutual respect.
Right.
If there's
Right.
no mutual respect, go fuck yourself.
Right. Right. And honestly, you know, a woman should not ever give herself to any man that's not going to be one. Because just what you said earlier, these men will traumatize you, abuse you, and not be leaders. And then you have to spend years detoxing that. Sometimes the best detox is just not even involving yourself. So, because now you have to heal.
Mm-hmm.
You have to spend time healing because somebody didn't want to be what they were ordained to be.
Mm-hmm.
So I tell people all the time, what is it, as a woman, what is it that you're really looking for and what are you willing to wait for? What are you willing to turn down?
I'm willing to turn down this for respect.
There we go. D.
And it's when
No, seriously,
and
no.
when I wasn't turning it down, and this is my younger years, honestly.
Of course.
When I wasn't turning it down, I it didn't matter. I was probably more than likely I would still be in a long-term relationship
Mm-hmm.
with that person, even though I gave it up quickly, or you know, because I'm not the type of person that sell my body first. I don't go that route, but you know, can I sleep with somebody on the first night? Yes, I've done that.
Mm-hmm.
Does it end up in a long-term relationship? Yes and no. So I've done it, and you know,
Mm-hmm.
on the, I mean, I say the first night or first date, but you know when you first meet, basically.
Right.
So I either end up in a long-term relationship with that person that you know, or not. To me, it didn't matter because for me it was about the moment. But when I did end up in a long-term relationship with that person, that's, you know, was it because I gave it up on the first night? I don't know.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, like I just said earlier, the ends justify the means.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't vet that individual for long-term purposes, so you got what you didn't do. Make sense?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But in all fairness, you know, what you do in your 20s, sometimes your brain don't start growing until 25.
Yeah. Sometimes 35.
Yeah. So, with that being said, it's what you try to learn from and abstain from. You notice how animals in the mating kingdom don't sleep with all the animals that come to them 1st. They pick and choose. The woman is very peculiar on who she wants to have kids by. And they only mate, most of them only mate for offspring purposes. So that woman is choosing a particular man for her lineage.
Yeah.
So you have to have the same energy that animals have in that capacity. You know, don't be picking somebody because they may look good. Or don't pick them just because they're smart. Or don't pick them because they're 6'4". Or don't pick them just because he don't have no children. Or don't. Those are bonus. You have to be very, very acute and abstinent when you picking somebody, so you don't have to deal with trauma, fear, resentment. Someone would say, "Well, how did I know? How are you supposed to know if he does this and that? How do I know?" I said, because when you separate the lust and you begin to trust, the truth will come out.
When you separate the lust
And begin to trust yourself.
and begin to trust yourself.
The universe will open up the truth. But as long as you're so concerned with your attraction to him, and don't get me wrong, attraction is a law, but just like when you go to a store and they selling baked goods, yes, it's sweet, but so is that cavity. So you have to be very mindful. The desires have to be put aside for the long term. You know, patience is necessary. You know,
Yeah.
when men enter a woman and different make you entering her sexually, it changes her differently. It's just science. What happens to her body? You know, she can't be having a whole bunch of different men in her and think that she's gonna be a regular. It don't, especially getting heartbroken. It carries into her soul different. Women store things chemically different than men do. So it affects her psychologically, emotionally. You know what I'm saying? A woman says, I hate men. But you only had 3. But you hate all men. But that's because of the man that she chose, but maybe was full of hate.
Yeah.
But anyway, go ahead.
Well, we're pretty much done here.
We done?
Yeah.
That was it?
Yeah.
I was about to get wrapped up.
We'll wait for later.
You sure?
Yeah. This is too much already.
Too much.
Yeah, it's just try to cut that down a little bit.
Alright, cut down the beat. Just don't go away, go half.
But we're going to do more of these videos. Obviously, we opened up these this YouTube channel specifically to talk about relationships and astrology, obviously. So join us on TikTok and Instagram. All that information will be in the description box. Yeah, this is YouTube.
Well, just in case you on Instagram, no, say you on Instagram, right? Somebody else, and then
Got it.
This why you have a man around. You see what I'm saying?
He says that to me all the time, and I just be like this. Yes, Leo.
Aries.
No.
Aries.
Is that Aries? Is that an Aries trait too? Jesus, God, I don't know
Sun
which
rules,
side.
sun sign, baby.
No idea
Red,
which one
red.
to appeal to.
Aries,
the
red.
Leo. Do I appeal to the Leo today, or do I appeal to the Aries?
I mean, you should appeal to all of them, right?
Which I can't.
All of them.
Anyway, thank you, all of you. Please subscribe, like, and share. And if you have any questions, our email would be in the description box as well. Bye.
Thank you guys. Have a good one.